Hi everyone, welcome to a new video over the fourth chapter of PMI's fifth edition of the Standard for Program Management. Today, we pick up the conversation from where we have left it in the last video. We're still covering the program definition phase activities, and this time our focus shifts to the planning subphase. In the last video, we walked through the 10 activities that make up the formulation subphase. Now, we are moving forward to explore the 12 activities that sit under the planning subphase. My name is Ahmed Amer, and this is Project Management Illustrated. Before we start, let's do a quick refresher. The program definition phase is made up of two subphases, the formulation subphase and the planning subphase. In earlier videos, we explored how the formulation subphase helps us answer the big questions. Is this program viable? Is it desirable? And most importantly, is it aligned with the organization's strategy? If the answer is no, this is exactly the point where a program is expected to be stopped long before major resources are committed. We also looked at how the 10 activities within the formulation subphase generate outputs that feed directly into the planning subphase. Some of these outputs are incredibly helpful, and others are even essential for what comes next. So today, we are moving forward. We will walk through the 12 activities that make up the planning subphase and see how they help the program mature as it progresses through its life cycle. During program planning, we start shaping the actual structure of the program. This is where the program organization is defined and an initial core team is brought together to develop the program management plan. This plan is not created in isolation. It's built on several key inputs: the organization's strategic plan, the program business case, the program charter, and all the high-level assessments completed during the program formulation subphase. In simple terms, everything we have explored and validated so far now feeds into one consolidated plan. The program management plan includes the program roadmap. Program roadmap is a high-level view of all program components and how they fit together. It also outlines the management arrangements, meaning how the program will be governed, monitored, and delivered. For example, it may define reporting cycles, escalation paths, decision-making authorities, and integration points between projects. One important reminder here: the plan must remain flexible. Programs operate in dynamic environments, and success is not measured by how strictly we stick to the original baseline. Instead, program success is measured by how effectively the organization realizes the intended benefits. If a change helps deliver more value or protects benefits, then adapting the plan is not only acceptable, it's expected. So, think of the program management plan as a managed baseline. It's a reference point, not a rigid rule book. It guides the program, but it evolves as we learn more and as the environment shifts. Now, we move into how program planning activities interact with program integration management. First, let's acknowledge the transition we have just made. We have moved from the formulation subphase into the planning subphase. In formulation, everything was high level, early analysis, assessments, and estimates. But now, in planning, we shift into establishing and planning. This is where decisions start turning into actual plans. Throughout this transition, the governance framework continues to oversee all program work. That doesn't change. Governance remains the umbrella under which every activity must operate. When you look at the PMI's figure, you will notice something very clear. The work done during formulation phase dominates the landscape. The program business case, the program charter, and all the assessments and estimates we completed earlier are on the figure now. They become the foundation for everything we do in program planning subphase. All of this feeds directly into the development of the program management plan, which is the primary output of this subphase. This plan consolidates the roadmap, governance arrangements, component sequencing, integration points, and the initial strategies for benefits, risks, stakeholders, and communications. Program planning is not a one-time event. It's iterative, and it interacts continuously with program integration management. As we define components, identify new dependencies, or adjust sequencing, integration management updates the overall coordination of the program. This ensures that all components work together as one unified effort, not as isolated projects. So in summary, everything we explored during formulation phase now becomes actionable. We are no longer asking, is this program viable? We are now answering, how exactly are we going to deliver the program? We start now the planning subphase activities with the change management planning. When you are running a program, change is inevitable. New ideas come in, priorities shift, technologies evolve, and sometimes stakeholders rethink what they actually need. This is where the program change management plan comes in. It's a key component of the overall program management plan, and it lays out the principles and procedures for how the program will handle change. So, what does that actually mean? Program change management plan defines the entire approach for managing change requests, including how change requests are captured. For example, what is the tool we use to formally log the raised change? How each change is evaluated? Looking at feasibility, cost, schedule impact, risks, and alignment with the strategic objectives. How decisions are made? Who is the right cohort to address the change? Should we have a quorum to make a decision whether a change is approved, deferred, or rejected? How those decisions are communicated to all impacted stakeholders? How the change is documented, including supporting details and rationale? And finally, how the change funding and work are authorized once the change is approved. A big part of the change management plan is understanding how to evaluate the impact of change. The change may trigger changes in the organization or governance structure. For example, do we require a new program sponsor or a shift in the program steering committee? Costs. Maybe a component or a major activity suddenly requires more funding or resources generally. Components, such as adding, removing, or modifying a project within the program. The program management plan itself, like adjusting some elements of the plan, such as the benefits realization plan or procurement management. Technology, for instance, adopting a new platform that affects multiple components or mitigate a major risk. And the same applies for other elements. Every one of these changes can influence program outcomes and eventually the benefits expected by stakeholders. That's why the evaluation step is so important. To keep things under control, the program steering committee should define program change thresholds. These thresholds determine when a change is significant enough to trigger the formal change process. For example, a cost increase of more than 10%, a schedule delay that affects a major milestone, or any modification that affects multiple components. Once these thresholds are agreed upon, the program team knows exactly when to escalate a change request. At the end of this activity, you will have two key outputs: the program change management plan and the program change thresholds. Together, they ensure that changes are managed consistently and in a way that protects the program's planned benefits. Let's move now to the next activity under the planning subphase: communications management planning. When we talk about running a program, communications management is one of those things that may sound simple, but it can make or break the entire program's effort. Program managers spend a huge amount of their time communicating with their stakeholders, whether these are the program team, component teams, component managers, customers, the program steering committee, executives, and of course, the program sponsor. If those communication channels are not clear, consistent, and well managed, misunderstandings start piling up. And in a program environment, misunderstandings can quickly turn into delays, rework, or even major risks to benefits delivery. Program communications management covers everything involved in making sure the right information gets to the right people at the right time. That includes information generation, collection, distribution, storing, and retrieval and disposition. Think of it as the information circulatory system of the program. If information doesn't flow, decisions slow down. If information flows to the wrong people, confusion spreads. But when communications are managed well, everyone stays aligned, stakeholders feel informed, and the program can move forward with confidence. So, in other words, communications are not just emails and meetings, they are the backbone of effective program decision making. This activity is all about figuring out the information and communication needs of your program stakeholders. In simple English, who needs what information, when do they need it, how will they receive it, and who is responsible for delivering it. That is the core of the program communications management plan. It's a component of the overall program management plan, and it spells out exactly how information will be created, shared, stored, and administered throughout the program. To make this work, communication requirements need to be clearly defined. That means making sure information flows smoothly between the program and its components, from the program to the right stakeholders, with the right level of detail, using the right delivery method. Be mindful that if a specific stakeholder has unique communication needs, their requirements should be captured in the stakeholder register. It's expected that as the program progresses, new components get added and new stakeholders are identified. This means your communication plan can't be static. It needs to be updated. You might start with a small group of stakeholders, but as the program grows, you may suddenly be dealing with new executives, new vendors, or new component teams. Because many programs today operate across borders, you also need to consider cultural differences, language barriers, time zones, and global working styles. These factors can dramatically affect how communication is received and understood. A message that works perfectly for one region might be confusing or even inappropriate in another. Good communications planning prevents similar issues. In a nutshell, program communications management planning can be complex, but it is absolutely essential. When done well, it keeps everyone aligned, reduces friction, and supports better decision making across the entire program. The key outputs of this activity are the program communications management plan and the communication requirements that feed into the stakeholder register. The next activity on our list for today is program cost estimation. When it comes to program cost estimation, this is not something you do once and forget about. It's carried out continuously throughout the entire life of the program, and it plays a major role in justifying the overall business case. Most organizations don't release all the funding upfront. Instead, they use a tiered funding process, where each major stage of the program includes a go, no go decision. At every governance milestone, leadership reviews progress, agrees on the financial management plan, and commits funding only for the next stage. This approach helps organizations stay flexible, manage risk, and make sure the program continues to align with the strategic priorities before investing further. This funding method is better because it doesn't force the company to pay all the money upfront for programs that last years that would tie up cash we could use for other important things. When we build a program cost estimate, we're not just producing a single number. We often apply weight or probability based on the quantitative risk analysis and the complexity of the work. We do this to understand how confident we are in that estimate. Some organizations even use statistical techniques like Monte Carlo simulation to model different scenarios and get a clearer sense of the possible outcomes. That confidence factor helps define the range of potential program costs, not just a point estimate. But there is another critical piece here. Every estimate is built on constraints and assumptions. These need to be clearly identified because if any of them turn out to be wrong during program delivery, the business case or even the program management plan may need to be revisited. This is where strong governance really matters. And when we talk about program costs, it shouldn't cover development and implementation work only. Decision makers also need to consider sustainment costs. These are the ongoing costs that continue after the program is completed. When you add everything across the full life cycle, including transition and sustainment, you get the total cost of ownership. That total cost of ownership is then compared to the expected benefits of different program options to support funding decisions. A PgMP exam question might ask you to select programs based on comparing their total cost of ownership or TCO values. There are many cost estimating techniques available, and the right choice depends on the nature of the program and the level of detail you have at each stage. Finally, program cost estimation doesn't just help at the program level. It also guides cost estimation for the individual components. If the program has any specific cost estimation guidance that component teams are expected to follow, it should be clearly documented and shared with all component managers. This ensures everyone is estimating costs in a consistent way and working from the same assumptions. The outcomes of this activity include program cost estimates, program cost estimation assumptions, and component cost estimation guidelines. Before ramming up here and as an extra information, Monte Carlo cost estimation uses computer simulations to predict total project costs when uncertainties exist. It runs thousands of scenarios by randomly varying inputs like task durations, labor rates, or material prices within realistic ranges. So instead of a single best guess number, we define ranges for each cost factor, such as optimistic, most likely, pessimistic values with probability distributions. The software then simulates the full project 1000 times or more, randomly picking values from those ranges each time to generate a distribution of possible total costs. The next activity we have today is Program Financial Framework Establishment. The fifth edition standard lists this activity under the planning subphase. However, it also states that the activity usually occurs during the program formulation subphase. It might be confusing, but the level of detail can decide what happens in formulation or planning subphases. A program financial framework is our yearly high-level plan for how the program will be funded. It sets out the available funding, the key constraints we need to work within, and how that funding will be allocated across the program's components. In simple terms, it shows how money will move through the program so we can realize the intended benefits and support a later transition into operations. It's important for the program managers to really understand the specific financial needs and expectations of the program sponsor and the representatives from the funding organizations. Every sponsor has their own priorities. Some want strict cost controls. Others care more about benefit realization timelines, and some need regular financial reporting to satisfy their internal governance. When these needs become clear, you may need to update your program communications management plan and your stakeholder engagement plan so they reflect how these stakeholders want to receive financial information. As we develop and analyze this financial framework, we will often uncover new information that affects the original business case. Maybe a cost assumption changes, a funding source becomes uncertain, or a constraint turns out to be more restrictive than expected. When that happens, the business case should not stay static. It needs to be updated, and those updates should be made with full involvement from the program's decision makers. In many programs, the program itself may be funded by one set of sources, while the program components are funded by completely different ones. That mix of funding sources adds complexity, but the timing of the funding adds even more. The timing of when the money arrives has a direct impact on the program's ability to perform. Unlike projects where costs and deliverables happen close together, program costs come much earlier, often years before benefits show up. That creates a natural gap. We are spending money long before we see any return. The goal of program financing is to secure the funds needed to bridge that gap and cover what is often a large negative cash balance during development. This is one of the biggest challenges in program financing. And because the money involved is usually significant, the funding organization is rarely a passive observer. They tend to be very active partners, influencing decisions made by the business leads, technical leads, and the program manager. That's why communication becomes critical. Your interactions with the program sponsor and other key stakeholders need to be proactive, complete, and timely. If funding is delayed, if cash flow assumptions change, or if a component needs additional financing, these stakeholders must hear about it early before it becomes a risk to the program. The type of program and the funding structure you are working with will shape the financial environment for the entire duration of the program. Different programs operate under very different funding models, and each one comes with its own expectations, constraints, and governance. Funding models can include programs that are funded entirely within a single organization. For example, an internal transformation program fully financed by the company's own budget. Programs that are managed within one organization but funded separately. This might happen when a business unit manages the program, but the funding comes from a different internal division. Programs that are funded and managed entirely from outside the parent organization. This is common in government grants or industry partnerships, where an external body provides both the money and oversight. Programs that are supported by a mix of internal and external funding sources. For instance, a program may receive internal seed funding but rely on external partners for major capital injections. The outputs of this activity are the program financial framework and updates to the business case, the program communications management plan, and the stakeholder engagement plan. As we are done now with the cost estimation and financial framework management, it's time to talk about financial management planning. Program financial management is all about understanding where the program's money comes from, how it is allocated, and how it is controlled over time. It includes identifying financial sources, integrating the budgets of all program components, building the overall program budget, and then managing costs as the program progresses. Within this, the program financial management plan plays a key role. It is a section of the overall program management plan that captures the financial details, such as funding schedules and milestones, the initial budget, contract payment schedules, how financial reporting will work, and the financial metrics used to measure performance. The financial management plan builds on the program financial framework we just obtained. It explains how the program will manage things like risk reserves, cash flow challenges, exchange rate fluctuations, interest rate changes, inflation, currency devaluation, local financial regulations, material cost trends, and even contract incentive or penalty clauses. It should also outline the approval process for allocating funds to program components. If the program is funded internally by the organization through retained earnings, bank loans, or bond sale, the program manager needs to factor in contract payment schedules, inflation, and other environmental and financial conditions that we just listed and could affect the program. The plan should also account for component payment schedules, operational costs, and infrastructure costs. Creating the program's initial budget means gathering all available financial information and laying out income and payment schedules clearly enough that costs can be tracked throughout the program as part of the program budget. Once the program budget is baselined, it becomes the main financial target the program is measured against. Finally, the program needs financial metrics to measure the planned program benefits. This is often challenging because cause and effect relationships in long, complex programs are not always obvious or easy to identify. That's why the program team and the program steering committee work together to define and validate the financial performance indicators that should guide program decision making. As the program moves forward, cost, schedule, and scope will inevitably change. That's normal and expected. What matters most is how these changes compare to the initial financial metrics that were used to approve the program in the first place. This comparison helps leadership decide whether to continue, adjust, or even cancel the program if needed. Any program financial risks identified in the financial management plan should not sit in isolation. They need to be added to the program risk register, so they are tracked, monitored, and managed just like every other program risk. Having said that, The outcomes of this activity include program financial management plan, initial program budget, program funding schedules, component payment schedules, program operational costs, program financial metrics, and inputs to the program risk register. Now let's talk about the Program Information Management Plan, which is a key component of the overall program management plan. Think of this as the blueprint for how the program will prepare, collect, organize, store, and protect all of its information assets. In simple terms, it defines how information moves through the program, where it lives, and how people access it. The plan usually includes things like information management policies, distribution lists, approved tools and systems, templates, and reporting formats. These elements help the program team stay consistent and avoid the chaos of everyone using different spreadsheets, formats, or storage locations. To support this plan, information is gathered and stored using a number of different systems. This can include manual filing systems, electronic databases, project and program management software, systems and repositories for technical documentation like engineering drawings, design specifications, and test plans. Once the program decides on its information management system or PMIS, it can then determine the best information distribution methods. This is important because modern information technology allows us to share huge amounts of data with many people very quickly. However, that speed only works if the system is planned and set up properly. Without a solid plan, information becomes scattered, outdated, or inaccessible. But with a solid plan, information becomes a strategic asset that supports decision making, governance, and benefits realization. Outputs of this activity include the Program Information Management Plan and the information management tools and templates the program will use. Let's now move to the Program Procurement Management Planning. This is the part of program management that deals with acquiring the products and services needed to realize the program's benefits. The purpose of program procurement management is applying the right knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to buy what the program needs. It doesn't just cover the program itself, but also goes to all the projects and components underneath. This planning activity focuses on understanding everything the program must acquire from outside the performing organization. I think by now most of you can guess that the output of this work is the Program Procurement Management Plan, which becomes a component of the overall program management plan. In simple terms, program procurement management planning is the strategy for how the program will buy what it needs, when it needs, and in the most efficient way. To build this plan, the program manager must understand the resources required to deliver the program's expected benefits. Tools like make or buy analysis and the program WBS help determine what should be built internally and what should be purchased externally. The program manager also needs to stay aware of available funding and the needs of all program components. This is important because procurement decisions at the program level often look very different from decisions made at the project level. Early and intensive planning is critical here. The program manager looks across all components and develops a procurement approach that optimizes cost, timing, risk, and value for the entire program, not just for individual projects. This planning activity examines commonalities and differences across the program to determine things like whether multiple components can share a single procurement. So instead of each component separate procurement, one large procurement might reduce cost, risk, or administrative effort. The best mix of contract types across the program. At a component level, a contract type that seems ideal for one component, like a firm fixed price contract, might not be the best choice when viewed from the program level. Sometimes an incentive fee or cost reimbursable contract is better for the overall program strategy. The best program-wide approach to competition. For example, using a sole source contract in one area might be acceptable if other areas use full and open competition to balance risk and compliance. How to meet external regulatory mandates efficiently. Instead of forcing every contract to meet a small business requirement, the program might award one dedicated contract to satisfy the mandate more effectively. To support these decisions to determine the best fit of solutions and services to meet the specific needs of the program may conduct requests for information or RFIs, feasibility studies, trade studies, and make analysis. These help the program understand what solutions exist, what vendors can offer, and what procurement approach best fits the program's needs. Because procurement decisions affect cost, risk, compliance, and benefits delivery, it's essential that procurement personnel across all components work closely together, especially during the planning subphase. This collaboration ensures the program stays aligned with legal, financial, and organizational requirements. The outcomes of this activity include the procurement, the program procurement management plan, program procurement standards, and updates to the program budget and financial plan. Moving now to the next activity, program quality management planning. When we talk about program quality management planning, we are really talking about one big question. What does quality look like for this entire program, and how do we make sure every component delivers it? Program quality management consists of the activities of the performing organization that determine program quality policies, objectives, and responsibilities. At the program level, we are not just dealing with one set of quality standards. We deal with multiple projects, multiple teams, subcontractors, and often multiple regulatory or organizational requirements. So the goal of this activity is to identify all the relevant quality standards and figure out how to satisfy them consistently across the whole program. This is where the program quality management plan comes in. It's a component of the overall program management plan, and it explains how the organization's quality policies will be applied throughout the program. Think of it as the playbook that aligns everyone around the same definition of quality. Inside the program, different components may have different quality assurance requirements or use different testing and quality control methods. If we are not careful, we may end up with duplication, conflicting standards, or gaps in quality. Program quality management helps prevent that by aligning all quality requirements and control methods, adding new requirements when needed to support overall program quality, establishing clear quality objectives and responsibilities. A good practice is for the program manager to document the program's quality objectives and principles in a quality policy that is shared with all components. Program management is responsible for planning the appropriate quality assurance criteria across the entire program lifecycle, which often extends beyond the timelines of individual components. As the program evolves, new quality control tools, activities, or techniques may be introduced when necessary. For example, if new laws are enacted during the program or if new components are added, the program may need updated inspection methods or additional quality controls to remain compliant and effective. When initiating the program, the cost of meeting the required level of quality should be evaluated and included in the business plan. Quality is a variable cost across all components, and the program quality management plan should reflect that. It's often beneficial to analyze quality activities across the program to identify opportunities to combine tests or inspections and reduce unnecessary costs. Without coordination, multiple components might test the same deliverable several times, resulting in avoidable expenses. This is why it's beneficial to take one step back and check the big picture of how things can work for the program, not only for its components. This helps as well, saving the program team time and effort. The output of this planning activity is the Program Quality Management Plan, which outlines the quality assurance measures, quality controls, and inspection methods based on the program scope. Quality management should be considered when defining every program activity, deliverable, and service. If we take the development of a program resource management plan as an example, then, involving a program quality manager helps ensure that quality activities and controls are properly applied and flow down to all components, including work performed by subcontractors. This supports consistency and reduces the risk of quality issues later in the program. The output of this activity is a program quality management plan that may include program quality policy, program quality standards, program quality cost estimates, quality checklists, quality metrics, service level agreements, or memorandums of understanding, and quality assurance and quality control specifications. Now, it's time to talk about program resource management planning. Program resource management is really about making sure the right resources are available to the component managers so the program can actually deliver its intended benefits. The resources in scope here are people, equipment, materials, or whatever is needed. So when we talk about resource management at a program level, it's a very different game compared to managing resources inside a single project or component. A program manager is constantly working in an environment full of uncertainty, trying to balance the needs of multiple components without starving any of them. Resource management planning starts with understanding what we already have and what we still need. In other words, it's about identifying the resource gaps to get the work done. And here is something interesting. When it comes to human resources, the total number of people needed for the entire program is not always the sum of what each component needs. Why? Because people can be reassigned as components finish. Think of it like chefs in a kitchen. Once they finish one dish, they jump in to help prepare the next. The program manager looks at each resource from two angles: capacity, how much they can take on, and capability, what they are actually skilled at. Then they figure out how to allocate these resources across components without overloading anyone or leaving gaps. Historical information from past projects and programs can be a huge help here, giving clarity about what types of resources were needed before. All of this comes together in the resource management plan, which is part of the overall program management plan. This plan forecasts how resources will be used across the program components and aligns that with the program master schedule. That way, the program manager can spot potential shortages or conflicts early, especially when dealing with scarce or constrained resources. The resource management plan also lays out how to prioritize resources and how to resolve conflicts when two components need the same resources at the same time. And when the program simply doesn't have the resources it needs, the program manager looks beyond the program boundaries and asks the larger organization for help. Sometimes that even means developing a statement of work, SOW, to contract external resources. By the end of this activity, we end up with two key outputs: the program resource requirements and the program resource management plan. As we are approaching the end of today's video, let's talk about program risk management planning activity. Program risk management planning is about one big question: how will we deal with risks across the entire program and its components? PMI tells us to follow the principles in the standard for risk management in portfolios, programs, and projects. And that's exactly what this activity does. It sets the tone for how risk management will work throughout the program. The program risk management plan, which is part of the overall program management plan, explains how risk activities will be structured and how everything will be carried out. Good planning makes sure the level of risk management matches the size and importance of the program to the organization. We talked so many times over how different programs have different prioritization to the performing organization. Accordingly, planning risk management activities may differ. It answers questions like: how much visibility should risks have? How much time and how many resources do we need to manage them? How will we evaluate risks consistently? Think of it like setting the rules before the game starts. Everyone knows how risks will be identified, analyzed, and evaluated in general. This planning should happen early in the program definition phase. It's foundational. In other words, other activities depend on it. And it's not a one and done task. If the program goes through major changes, you revisit the plan. Programs evolve, and so do their risks. One of the key outputs of this activity is the program risk register. This is where you record risks, their analysis, and the planned responses. Program risk register is a living document. It gets updated throughout the program as risks appear, disappear, or simply change. Every organization has different risk profiles. Some are bold and willing to take on high threat situations if the opportunity is big enough. Other organizations can be more cautious. These risk profiles influence how the program should approach risk management. They can show up in formal policy statements or simply in how management behaves. Enterprise environmental factors, or EEFs, also play a role here. Things such as market conditions, industry trends, economic shifts, or regulatory changes. It doesn't stop at this point. Organization and stakeholders' culture have a role in shaping the approach to risk management. Most organizations already have tools and structures for managing risk, such as risk categories, risk breakdown structures, standard definitions and templates, risk statement formats, roles and responsibilities, decision-making authority levels, and of course, lessons learned from past programs are invaluable. They are critical assets to establish an effective risk management plan. This activity produces two major outputs: the program risk register and the program risk management plan. Now, let's move on to the next activity in the planning subphase: program schedule management planning. The program schedule management planning activity sets the sequence and timing of all program components needed to deliver the program benefits. It estimates how long each component will take, identifies major program milestones, and records the expected outcomes for each milestone. The program schedule management plan is a component of the program management plan that defines how the schedule will be developed and managed. It provides guidance for coordinating and controlling changes to schedule baselines across all program components. As we are aware, program components may include projects, subsidiary programs, and other work required to deliver the program's scope. Program schedule management planning starts with the program scope management plan and the program work breakdown structure or WBS. These define how the program components will deliver the program's outputs and benefits. The program schedule is developed collaboratively as component schedules are refined. The initial program master schedule is often developed before detailed component schedules exist. The program's delivery date and major milestones are established using the program management plan and the program charter. The Program Master Schedule is the top-level planning document that defines the individual component schedules and the dependencies among all program components needed to achieve the program goals. It should include component milestones that contribute outputs to the program or have interdependencies with other components. Once the high-level program master schedule is defined, the dates for each program component are identified and used to develop the component's schedule. These dates often become constraints at the component level. When a component has multiple deliverables that other components depend on, those deliverables and interdependencies should be reflected in the program master schedule. This often happens when we have a top-down program. But when we have a bottom-up program and the program is formed around existing components, the program master schedule must incorporate the milestones and deliverables already defined in the individual component schedules. To revisit the concepts of top-down and bottom-up programs, please watch the first video in this playlist as it explains what a program is and how it is initiated. The program master schedule should also include activities unique to the program, such as stakeholder engagement to program, level risk mitigation, actions, and program level reviews. As you can see, these are program-specific activities not necessarily associated with a certain component. It defines the timing of individual components, helps the program manager determine when benefits should be delivered, and identifies external dependencies. Yearly versions of the program master schedule typically show only the order of components, their start and end dates, and key interdependencies with other program components. As component schedules are developed, the program master schedule is updated with more detailed intermediate results. The program master schedule shows the agreed sequence of component deliverables, helping plan component work and expected benefits. It gives stakeholders a clear view of how the program will be delivered throughout its life cycle. As a living document, the program master schedule helps the program manager identify risks and escalate component issues that may affect program goals. While we are talking about risks, please note that program schedule risks identified during development of the program master schedule should be added to the program risk register. These risks may be program internal and come from dependencies between components or from external factors identified through the agreed upon program schedule management plan. The program schedule management plan may also define scheduling standards that apply to all program components. The schedule model principles should also be applied to the program master schedule. These principles can be found in the practice standard for scheduling. Maintaining a logic-based program network diagram and monitoring the critical path for component outputs with interdependencies are essential to managing the program master schedule. This supports benefits realization by focusing on the deliverables that lie along the critical path. The program roadmap should be reviewed and updated regularly to stay aligned with the program master schedule. Changes in the program master schedule may require updates to the program management plan, and those updates should be reflected in the schedule. The output of this activity includes the program schedule management plan, the program master schedule, inputs to the program risk register, and updates to the program management plan. Now, let's talk about the final activity on our list for today, program scope management planning. But before we do that, let's first talk about program scope. Program scope is typically expressed as the expected benefits or outcomes for the sponsor organization and target publics. But it may also be described through user stories or scenarios depending on the program type. Program scope includes all benefits to be delivered by the program and is represented in the program work breakdown structure, or WBS. A program WBS is a deliverable-oriented hierarchical decomposition of the total program scope, including all deliverables produced by the program's components. Anything not included in the program WBS is simply outside the program's scope. Program WBS includes program management artifacts such as plans, procedures, standards, processes, program management deliverables, and program management office support deliverables. The program WBS provides an overview of the program and shows how each component contributes to the program's objectives. While we decompose the program work, decomposition stops at the level of control needed by the program manager. Typically, the first one or two levels of each constituent component. Program scope includes the scope that is decomposed and allocated to components. Be mindful to avoid breaking down component level scope into details that overlap the responsibilities of component managers. Thus, the program WS serves as the framework for developing the program master schedule and defines the program manager's control points. I think most of you would agree that program WS is an essential tool for building realistic program schedules, developing cost estimates, organizing program work, while supporting program reporting, tracking, and control. Accordingly, program scope management planning includes the activities needed to plan and align the program scope with the program's goals and objectives. It involves decomposing the work into deliverable component products designed to produce the intended benefits. The goal is to develop a detailed program scope statement, break down the program work into deliverable components, and establish a plan for managing scope throughout the program. Program level deliverables should be clearly linked to benefits and focus on activities related to stakeholder engagement, program level management rather than management within components, and component oversight and integration. Once the scope is defined, a plan for managing, documenting, and communicating scope changes should be created during the program definition phase. The program scope management plan is a component of the program management plan. It describes how the scope will be defined, developed, monitored, controlled, and verified toward the end. The outcomes of this activity include the program scope management plan, the program scope statement, and the program WBS. As a quick recap, today we continued our discussion of the program definition phase and walked through all 12 activities in the planning subphase. We looked at what each activity involves, its definition, key actions, and outputs, and how those outputs contribute to the overall program management plan. And it doesn't stop here. We have now seen how various activities across the program can lead to critical updates in both the risk register and the business plan. With the program definition phase now complete, stay tuned for the next video where we will cover the activities of the program delivery phase. Before we wrap up for today, let me bring your attention back to the table we shared previously. Take a moment to look closely at the activities listed under the two subphases of the program definition phase. You will notice a very clear progression. In program formulation, everything is about assessments and estimates. We are exploring, analyzing, and validating whether the program makes sense. But as we move into program planning, those early explorations evolve into structured, locked in planning activities. This is where decisions start taking shape, roles are defined, and the program management plan begins to solidify. That shift from exploring possibilities to establishing concrete plans is one of our key takeaways today. Let's wrap it up here for today. In our next video, we will dive into the program delivery phase activities, a big step forward in the program life cycle, so don't miss it. Your engagement genuinely keeps this channel moving. So if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect moment. And of course, if you have got questions, thoughts, or insights, drop them in the comments or reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.